Mental Health Chats. I'm Claire Davis, and I'm here to help you bring positive mental health and emotional fitness into your life. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe. If you're listening on podcast, please follow. This series is on PTSD. It's all about helping managers in organizations to help themselves and their teams with their emotional fitness so they can spot the signs, have those conversations, and bring emotional fitness and positive mental health into the workplace. Today, my guest is Dr. Marni Foderaro, and Marni will be talking to us about extreme PTSD from domestic violence. Hi, Marni, how are you?
Oh, I'm fine, Claire. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
Well, thank you very much for joining us. And I was amazed when you told me where you're actually living in the world, because it's a part of the world that a lot of people don't know about. So would you like to tell everybody where you are?
Well, I moved about 3 years ago to the Caribbean. So I am in the United States Virgin Islands after a lifetime in the Chicago, Illinois, USA suburbs.
Lovely. So the United States Virgin Islands, they are very different to the British Virgin Islands, aren't they?
I just think the nationality is different. I think the islands actually look very similar.
Right. And are they far from each other?
No, not too far. Just a ferry ride away.
Lovely. Well, thank you for bringing this part of the world to us. And this is a very, very sensitive topic. So Marni, would you mind describing your trauma to everybody, please?
Sure. You know, my trauma is very much similar to trauma that anyone has. It's where the world as you knew it is not what you thought. You know, the wool was pulled out from under you. You lost your sense of security and safety, and you know, you're just shocked into a trauma situation.
Really? Okay. So how did extreme PTSD actually present for you, Marni?
Well, you know, I made the choice to leave an unhealthy marriage after 27 years. And, but the extreme PTSD resulted in that I lost everything. I lost my home, my money, my assets, even my adult children to parental alienation. Just everything that I thought was safe and secure just was gone. And, you know, there are people that lose their homes to a fire or a flood or a hurricane. There are people that lose their jobs or that lose a loved one, and just the world that they knew just will never be the same. And that is kind of what happened to me. And as far as how it presents, it's, you know, you are triggered by different things that you see and experience. You have previously been gaslit to kind of question your own worth and your own reality, and so the confidence that you previously had is not there, and so you really, I think, are operating from kind of a state of fear and shock, at least in the beginning.
Yeah, that sounds horrific. So how did it present as a post-traumatic disorder? You know, why was it, you know, this was building up for many, many years. So why did it suddenly become PTSD? Can you explain this to the listeners?
Yeah, sure. You know, even though the red flags were there, they were ignored for so many years. So really, by the time your light bulb goes on and you realize you're in a toxic situation and you need to get out, that happens very fast, actually, you know, but the abuse and the gaslighting and projection and just the belittling and all of that has been happening for years and years prior to like the big revelation of what you're going through. But, you know, I think what happens is you're left completely shocked, and you have to navigate even basic, simple tasks that shouldn't be hard to do, but are hard because you've lost your confidence, you've lost your abilities, you've lost so many things that you kind of have to start from square one. And if you are strong, like I believe I was a strong and I am a strong person, that really helped me be able to acknowledge what I was going through, and then do the necessary shadow work, looking back at your own life and your own childhood wounds and core traumas that kind of made you a target for an abuser. But also you have to kind of look at, what research, kind of what you have been through. And I think knowledge is power. It helps give people some more tools to be able to cope with, the devastating losses that happen as a result of any kind of trauma.
Yeah, that's really, really interesting. And, we've met a few times now, and, you said that you believe you're a strong person. I believe you are as well. You're a very confident woman. You've succeeded so much in life. Would you like to tell everybody about, your career? You're a doctor, what you're a doctor in, etc. So, you were a very successful woman. So if you'd like to tell everybody about your success and how even successful people can get themselves into these situations. So.
Most definitely. In fact, many times it does happen to successful people because they really are sure of themselves in so many other areas of their lives. But they can be hit with some sort of trauma, some sort of loss that will jolt that confidence. So, I retired after a 35-year career as a high school special education teacher in the Chicago suburbs, and a career I absolutely loved and was, called to do. 12 of those years, I was a university adjunct graduate school professor. So I'm someone who always loved learning. And so in 1997, I earned my doctorate degree in education. And that just allowed me to, first of all, I just loved learning, and I loved that whole atmosphere of growing and trying to be the best teacher I could be. But it wasn't until I think it was 2013 or so that I went on for postdoctoral studies at Harvard. And then again, it was just this love of learning. But it was also around that time that my light bulb went on that I wasn't in the most healthy situation, and there were just one too many red flags, one too many situations ignored where, enough was enough, and I needed to make the change. Except, I just kind of assumed I could make the change and everyone would be reasonable. But I didn't know that actually when you leave someone that, has sort of a malevolent agenda, that has like a double life, that the abuse kind of ramps up for even years after that. So that's kind of where the PTSD came in. So yes, you can be an accomplished person, very on top of the world in so many ways. But when you have these significant changes and losses, it just jolts you into, a whole new gate, your emotions. And there's a lot of flight or fight responses, like, the adrenaline kind of situations, because you are in fear, kind of navigating these things. And it does take some effort to work towards overcoming that. And I believe that I have, and part of that is because of research and my love of learning and trying to understand, the personality types I was dealing with. But also I found writing to be extremely healing on my journey, because it helped me process what I went through. And then eventually when I published books, like I have a 5-book series called True Deceit, False Love, reaching out and helping other people, while I was kind of at I think you're always on a healing journey, but on a further stage of healing, was very validating that I could, help other people to provide some creative tools to deal with trauma, because those kinds of things really worked for me.
Brilliant. So it was fantastic that you found a method that could help you heal. And would you like to repeat what the series of books is called? Because you said they're quite creative for people. Would you like to explain?
Sure. The book series, it has 5 books and there's one more book in the works, but it's called True Deceit, False Love. And, the books are not necessarily autobiographical. They're certainly not gender specific, because, abuse and trauma can happen to both men and women. It's and children, of course. But the first book is a book of terms and phrases to help understand, what is some of the words that are used, the language to help make sense of trauma. And then I put some creative approaches with poetry, free verse and acrostic poetry, including a workbook. So if other people find that writing could be kind of healing for them, they would have a tool to use. And then the 5th book is actually a word search puzzle book, which may seem kind of strange, but actually, with the emergence of all these adult coloring books, which were definitely to help people calm down and, just use a part of their brain to work through some, difficult situations. I found word searches did that for me as well. And it's informational too. So not only are you completing a word search puzzle, which is relaxing, but it's also informative.
This is a lovely way to help people heal, and it's obviously helped you a lot. So thank you very much for that information. Are there any other ways that people could heal from this type of trauma?
There are so many different ways. And I think, trying to find your passion of what interests you, whether it is exercise, whether it's travel, whether it's building something or working in the garden, there's all sorts of things that people can do to help work through, tangible, goal-oriented, intentional approaches. I also found that especially with the significant losses that I had and being so close to retirement, I chose to move to the Caribbean. So a change of locale where there's new adventures and new experiences really was very healing for me. And I live on many acres in the rainforest. And so I'm immersed in nature. And, I will tell you every single day, there is something amazing in nature to witness. And I think that grounds, it certainly grounds me, but I think that being in nature can be grounding for people. And then, people say self-care, and I know that's an overused term, but it is so true that you need to take care of yourself, on the inside as well as the outside, the nutrition that you put into your body, the restorative sleep, the moderate exercise, taking hot baths, whatever it is that works for you, that calms you down. That's very important. But then also, the external, trying to pursue your passions or do something creative to deal with the trauma.
Oh, that's absolutely fantastic advice, Marni. Thank you very much for all your advice and all your support, because it must be very difficult for you to actually talk about such a trauma, and that shows how much you have healed. So there might be some of the listeners and viewers out there who would love to get in touch. So where could people find you?
Sure. I'm not on social media. I wanted to spend more time writing. But I have a website, which is the title of my first book, which was a spiritual fiction. So there's a contact page on there. You could read about me and the different people that endorsed my books and all the different, endeavors that I'm involved in. So that is www.godcametoMyGarageSale.com.
Thank you. So that's godcametoMyGarageSale.com. So thank you very much, Marni, for your advice to help people out there who may be suffering from a trauma. And good luck and take care.
Well, thank you so much for having me. And to your audience, we all go through dark challenges and tough times, and you can get through this. There are so many things that you can do to work through this trauma.
Thank you and take care.